All right, everyone. Thanks for hopping on our Savannah chat. We have Kate Nye here with Provi/750 to do a deep dive on their program, their platform's functionality. Kate, you can take it away.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you very much for having me. Again, I'm Kate. I am 50. So consider me a resource if we haven't met already for any questions you have relating to the ordering experience that a retailer has within Provi or your side of the equation, which is 750, the place where you're building sales tools like price books, sample sheets, and lists. So what I wanted to do today is give a refresher, or maybe this is newer material or to be used later, recording for new onboardings, just to give a refresher of what the 750 experience looks like, best practices between the three types of tools: price books, sample sheets, and lists. And then we'll hop over into Provi. If you haven't seen the ordering experience before, hopefully this is helpful just to provide some insight on what it feels like to be inside of Provi as a buyer. So you can recommend more folks use it or speak more well versed to it. And then I'll show you how when you make a presentation, it can open up as a shoppable list inside of a retailer's Provi account. So that's where things are headed today. And as questions come up, I'll look for them in the chat if I can hear them. Otherwise, just come off of mute and feel free to ask at any time. So this is 750, your landing page, your home page. I'm logged in as Brandon for demo purposes today. And when you go into browse, I'll just start there to show you what retailers have for filters. You have the same ones inside of 750 as well. So you can filter your own portfolio, but also look around at competitor portfolios to see what else is out there in that category that you're curious about. So filtering to wine, let's say we want to look at rosés, and let's say that you have a buyer that's also getting pretty specific and they want sustainable rosés as well. We have various feature tags that are really interesting to me. We have a whole data content team that will vet those tags against the materials that we see come out from the supplier. So lots more calls these days for sustainable, biodynamic. These are all found under feature. There's also container type too, if you wanted to find a particular keg. So again, this is on your end. The buyer has the same filters on their end as well on Provi. So we can filter down now to, let's see, a wine that's still rosé and that's also tagged as sustainable by the supplier. We get a couple of those in your portfolio, and remember, toggle over to all to see what else is out there from other distributors. It looks like you might be the only folks with those sustainable rosés out there in that territory. So good to know, but a toggle for you to be aware of. So from browse, you have access to start building, or continue building various presentations. From here, you can click add to list. So it could be a sample sheet or a list that you decide to add this item to after browsing your own portfolio for it. So I'll stop there and just talk a little bit about the differences between sample sheets and lists. Sample sheets, you can see, are date specific. They're also account specific. You tag accounts when you make one. So you can only make a sample sheet per day, one per day. It's meant to be a direct reflection of what's in your bag that day. But if you get a request for, like, hey, what are your newest wines that have hit the book? Or I'm thinking of doing this Italian food menu for an upcoming wine dinner. Would you suggest what wines should be paired with it? Then you could do a list. I think of a list of more of a flyer for FYI, this is new, or we should take a look at these at some point in the future. Sample sheets are almost like a lightweight CRM. They can tell you a direct reflection of who you took what wine, spirits, beers to on what day, and then afterwards you can come back and record their reactions. And if we have any managers on the phone, you'll have reports as well within your 750. So you can see what accounts have looked at what products on what days and what they thought of them. But it all starts with those who are building the sample sheets, the reps, making sample sheets as opposed to lists. So I'm a huge proponent of leaning on these and organizing what you're showing to who, where, when with sample sheets. So let's dive in to a couple that I've pre-built. So toggled between these three different types sample sheets, again, date specific, it'll show you what accounts you're planning on showing them for, what products you've added already. You can hop into it. We'll do that in a second. Lists as well, much more broad. They do not have assigned accounts. They are not attached to one specific date, just says the date that you've last updated it. But a quick commentary on price books. They're a snapshot in time of a large swath of your portfolio. So say someone has an ask for, hey, would you just send me everything you have from California? Would love to look at all of your California cabs. That is when I would come to a price book so that you don't have to manually select everything that falls under that section. You can generate a new price book and then specify any of the specific frameworks that that request is meeting. So whether it's from a specific country, a specific supplier, you can generate a price book with that large framework. And just a quick FYI of what it looks like. This is a previously formulated one for, I believe, all wines from Argentina. So organized, pretty easy to read, flip through. Again, a large swath, a large export of your portfolio. So looking at lists, I started one for the demo today. You can add items to list from browse where we were earlier, or you can add them here by typing in the SKU, or you can also type in some part of the name. So I'm imagining that I'm having like someone that wants to have a conversation about creature comforts. So I've added all of these. I can even add more notes, like there's about the product notes, maybe some about the producer notes, add in the spacing as you see fit. So these will translate to the end product, whether you decide to export a PDF of it or share it digitally with the buyer. And I want to show you what happens when you hit get shareable link and then use this URL to text out to or email out to a retailer. So pretty cool effect. This is one of my favorite features of 750. It works for lists, it works for sample sheets. On a list, when you're making one, hit this remove or get shareable link. If you haven't made one yet, it'll say get shareable link. So I'll hit that again. And then it generates the URL. I'm going to copy this. And then let's say we did text it out to a buyer, put it into an email body. I'm going to open a new tab and simulate what it looks like for a buyer to be opening this on their end. To me, this closes the gap between the tasting appointment, talking about a wine, spirit, beer, and actually getting boxes on trucks. So your descriptions show up, exactly what notes you put in show up. You can customize them as well. And then there is an add to cart button immediately in front of the buyer. So pretty cool to be able to say, hey, no worries, paperwork gets lost. Let me just send you this list. And the buyer will be able to refer to it in their rep recommendations forever. So they don't have to worry about losing track of that, remembering to add it to their order the next time they talk to you or maybe a different rep. Ordering and choosing new wines, spirits, beers can be made easy by sharing the lists and sample sheets that you make with them. So going back into the list that we made, some people like tangible print work or attaching a PDF to something. Lots of customization available in here as well that you can play with. But hitting generate PDF makes a PDF that I bet a lot of people are used to doing, printing out, carrying around with them. When you download it and maybe have it on the table at the tasting appointment and ask the buyer to scan the QR code, the same thing happens. It opens up as a shoppable list inside of their Provi account. So pretty cool to either say, hey buyer, scan this, save it for future reference, or just text it to them after the fact. So I really like making lists and hitting that get shareable link and sending out that URL to buyers to get them interested, to get them buying. And then with sample sheets, I'll pivot over here as well to show a few of the differences between lists and sample sheets. I'm going to start end of day today. Let's start planning our route for tomorrow. So same sort of thing. I'll focus on those creature comfort wines, beers. So let's see, we had Tropicalia on there. You can type in the SKU or these are notes. Or you can alpha search as well. So you would do the rest of it that way. What's pretty cool is that you can tag accounts here that you want to show these to. So let's say we wanted to show these to, I'm just going to type in the first couple of folks that pop up. All right, so for 3 different accounts here, they're automatically added to all of the other items you've added below to the sample sheet. But maybe I'm not planning on showing the same beers to all 3 of these accounts. Maybe this 100 years already has the Bibo Pilsner, so I'm going to eliminate that from the sample sheet from that item. When I go to generate printable PDFs, it will make then 2 different lineups of whatever items I've said need to be at this tasting appointment and not include the ones that I've eliminated on the previous screen. They'll generate 2 different PDFs for those 2 accounts, depending on what I've elected to show them. And again, same effect here. Have them scan the QR code. It opens up as a shoppable list inside of Provi. So after final note on sample sheets and why I love them so much and how then reports can work for you, you can go back into your sample sheets and record buyer reactions. So let's look at one that has products. Let's see, we have one from way back in June, but let's say we wanted to go in and record what the buyer liked about it. We can say follow up with manager next week, kind of liked it. So the reaction is a follow-up, and then you can add a reminder for yourself. This will show up in your email inbox and on your home page of 750 at 7 a.m. on the day you've set the reminder for. So pretty cool functionality then to be able to get that to remind you to do something with a previous tasting. So then as a manager, you can come in and filter. I love this functionality. If I wanted to figure out who has shown Tropicalia recently to what accounts, then you could filter the product. It'll show you the accounts that have looked at it and those who have made sample sheets with it on there and organize them below by date. Or you could look at it in a different way. Like say we wanted to see what are all the items that this Max Lager's American Grill and Bar has looked at? So I'll just filter to them as the applied filter. And we can see that Tiffany has been working hard. She's been showing a lot of different items to them going back from July previous. So all of this starts though, managers, with folks creating sample sheets and tagging their items to specific accounts. So that's my overview of 750, and I'll hop over into Provi next. Feel free to ask any questions you have while we're here on 750. All right, great. Looking over into Provi. So this is the landing page for a retailer. I'm logged in as a demo account with an Atlanta address today, just for demo purposes. But the experience is mostly parity with what a real life retailer is experiencing. So a couple different ways that a retailer could come by and find your portfolio. You can just start typing in the distributor name that you want to look at. I just alpha searched Savannah, and then the search results come up for all things Savannah. They're organized by volumetrically, what sells the most in your portfolio. And just like I mentioned in 750, same filters, remember feature like sustainable, container type, keg, all of them are in here, the same ones that you have in 750, buyers have as well on their end. So you could also come by Savannah's page by visiting their storefront. This link is app.provi.com/Savannah-distributing. It's an ungated URL. So even if you don't have a Provi account yet, or you're not signed into yours, you can still access this page. Any of you can type this into your own cell phone browser and see Savannah's page. This is maintained by y'all. It may be Brandon, I'm not sure who is doing the updating, but love that it looks pretty great. So this is a great way to get buyers introduced to the concept of Provi. Again, ungated, everyone can see it regardless of their account creation status. It's just as soon as you click on an item, you're going to be prompted to log in or sign up. So a couple different ways, like I said, to find the distributor portfolio you're looking for. I could come to Savannah's and the drop down for distributor catalogs. I can come down into items and start adding to cart directly from list. So I could add from here, or I could click the item to find out more about it, see all of their different sizes, even save it to a list. This is one of my favorite ways to collaborate with your buyers and with us at support. If you know that a buyer who has just opened their Provi account wants a specific list of their wells or of their BTGs or of their taps built to make ordering really easy, we can add an order guide here so that they list out all of their Savannah taps and they don't have to do any of the searching for the items to build their cart. They can just work their way down a list. So please send those in to us. Have the buyer whose email address the Provi account is associated with on copy. Send us the 5, 10, 20 items you want us to build into an order guide here, and we'll add it to that retailer's Provi account. We see something like over 40% of add to carts coming from lists. It makes sense. It's super easy. You don't have to search in the search bar for the items. Or you can also order from your order history. Reordering, therefore, is really easy too. So tons of buyer interaction with these two sections of their master menu. So again, you are welcome to write into support@provi.com and have us create an order guide. We'll just title it Savannah items, Savannah wells, Savannah BTGs, and then advise the buyer that ordering is now super easy from that list. So more items here within the products detail page, tasting notes, product information. If the supplier has sent in a tech sheet for the item, it'll show up here as well. I know Tito's actually has recently some new tech sheets attached, so buyers can have access to shelf talkers and tech sheets without having to ask you for them, which is great. And then again, add to cart from here. You can add bottles, you can add cases, and then let's go into cart. So a couple of things to point out here on what we block and what we don't block. So we don't block ordering based on what time the buyer is trying to submit their order, but we do block based on a minimum. So Savannah elected, this is something that we can turn on and off at any time, whatever you guys like, but Savannah did elect to implement a $100 minimum on Provi, and then if the cart is under $100, they can't submit it. Another prerequisite is that you do have to enter your account number. So the buyer does have to know their account number at Savannah. They can look at an invoice for it, they can ask you for it, and that's how we know where to send the order when we transmit it into your ERP, into Encompass. So that's required to submit an order, but that's it. You can build multiple distributor carts, and then you can hit one big blue button to send all of them at once, and we handle disseminating them out to the various distributors. You can edit here, you can add deal notes, you can add order notes, say I need a sample for this, or I need a tap handle to come along with this as well. You can add a PO number, or if you are a hotel and you want to make sure this goes to the kitchen, you could input some alpha characters here as well. So that's the ordering experience. Otherwise, you would just hit send order from here, and then be able to reorder from order history, refer back to rep recommendations that have been shared with you, like what I showed earlier from 750. And I think that's it on the ordering side that I wanted to show. Any questions on either 750 or Provi? Any specifics, things that you want to see from the buyer's end? Happy to hop into it, but I wanted to keep it at 20 minutes, short and sweet.
I definitely agree with the allowing orders that are off day, but not under minimum. That's something that we can address. The off day, we can either use our need to go system or hotshot or just bill for their next available delivery day. But yeah, we don't want our sales force running around making hotshots for small orders. All right, can you explain a little bit more on the 750 ordering? If they go and scan and add from the list off of a presentation, how does it get ordered?
Yeah, it would go. So say we wanted to look back at the rep recommendation, this list that we've shared with a buyer. Say I was interested in Classic City Lager, I would add this to cart, and then you can see that my cart is now updated in the corner, and Classic City is now in my cart. Does that answer your question?
It looks pretty intuitive to me.
Yeah, cool.
Does anybody else have something for Kate specifically? A very good and concise presentation showing us our view and then the customer view. I've never used Provi to place orders from the customer side. I haven't been buying since before this technology existed. But it is nice to see, and all of us have customers that use it diligently. One thing to remind people, just because they place an order on Provi doesn't mean they've billed the order correctly. Our customers don't know how to bill our deals. Caitlin Gleisner puts up something perfectly. I was about to talk about this. What about Tito's leader free goods deals not being recognized? So I'm think that there's some programming to autocorrect the Tito's deal, but it's possible it doesn't always work. My trick, Katie, was anytime I saw a case of Tito's coming in Provi, I would edit that order down to 11 bottles. 100% of the time, I'd always do it. Same for 2 cases. If 2 cases come in, I would edit that order down to 20 bottles. We know once that 20 bottle order hits our system, those free goods are going to automatically add on. We don't know how Provi is going to communicate that order to our system, and we ultimately don't have control over it. So definitely review and edit your orders. One of the flaws in the system, our customers don't know all our deals. Even if we communicate to them, they're not going to remember them. They have many different people they work with. So we have to then edit the deals, and we don't want loose bottles shipping on trucks. The deal is buy 11, get one free. It's a 12 bottle deal, is a 1 case deal. We don't want that 13th bottle going because the loose bottles break. Um, Same for other deals. There's a lot of 11 bottle and 5 bottle deals out there. So make sure you know your deals, you know your price point breaks on your products. And if something comes in on Provi that doesn't look right, edit it and make it right. That way you don't have to fix it and your customer's happy about getting the correct deal. It's very important to us. Kate, anything to add?
I will say the major piece of feedback that we know to develop next for Savannah and several other distributors that have legal free goods deals is this functionality. So it's a known lack currently on Provi that we don't have a way to support this for you all yet. But again, you and other distributors nationally have ways of legally offering free goods. And so we know that, and we're building out functionality. I don't have an ETA on it, but it's a known thing that we want to develop in the future. So stay tuned for that feature to be added to the ordering experience.
Seems like you'd have to get permission from us, but there's a relatively simple line of code in there that any Tito's deal that came in at 12 or 13 bottles would automatically get rebilled as 11 bottles before it got to us. That would fix it, but that's y'all's system. I don't know. Cool. Anything else from
Yeah.
the team? Was that an open mic? Someone had a question? Cameron, is that you? Can't tell. Patrick, if you can email the link after this, I would appreciate it. Do you mean the YouTube link? Of course, it'll be on there. I'll email it to everyone. All right. Well, cool. Thank you, Kate, for it. Your presentation. This is a great software. Team, if you haven't started really using or making sheets that in this, especially for your on-premise presentations, pretty much consider it mandatory that you're showing up with pricing sheets for those presentations. It's very, very important. Other than that, Kate, anything else to finish out?
Check the chat for my email address and support as well. Support is all encompassing for any time that you have a glitch or you want to copy in a buyer and ask a question on behalf of them. But anytime you want, more of a honest exchange, best practices questions, or just help escalating a support ticket, note my email address. It's super short, kate.nye@provi.com. Come to me anytime and happy to work with you. Like Kirk Reed, I know I have an outstanding question from you, so we'll be getting to that, but always happy to work with you in a dedicated fashion. So cool.
All right.
Thanks,
Cool. Thanks,
Patrick, for
Kate.
having me.
Oh, our pleasure. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.